this presentation, we will cover personalized and adaptive learning systems, historical development and technology, well-known companies, pedagogical theory, strengths and weaknesses, feedback from personal interviews, future research, and sources. What is personalized learning? Personalized learning refers to a variety of educational programs, learning experiences, instructional approaches, and academic support strategies that are intended to address distinct learning needs, interests, aspirations, or cultural backgrounds of individual students.
I'm Karen Silva. I'm a finalist. When I barely came to the United States, I didn't know anything about the country nor its language.
I remember when Karen first showed up at Mar Hill, she was very shy, kind of the quiet child sitting at the very back, not raising her hand. At the beginning of the year, Karen was very shy.
I didn't understand what I was reading.
She was an immigrant from Mexico, and so she didn't have the confidence that the other children had in answering the questions or reading out aloud. And she was going to System 44 on a daily basis, and she looked forward to going. And as soon as she learned that she actually has a goal and she can achieve her goal because she's a goal setter, then she knew that if she continues going to System 44 and continues to be successful in System 44, she can graduate from that.
I had exceeded some reading tests and excelled my spelling. I want to improve my grades by showing my work and mastering my goals, which are making A's.
Karen's academic performance is absolutely outstanding. She has moved her Lexile up to 600 points.
I learned what hard words mean without using a dictionary. I learned more because the reading has taught me how to understand and to know what I'm reading about.
Siempre está leyendo, siempre le gusta leer mucho un libro, se emociona ella cuando ve un libro y le gusta, se pone a leerlo, feliz, ella quiere seguir estudiando, que ella quiere ser alguien.
But with System 44, that has given her the opportunity to really grow. When she's walking down the hall, she walks a little bit straighter, a little prouder, and within the classroom, she's raising her hand, she's participating, she's actually helping 3 other students that are recent immigrants. So that's a good goal for her to have, because the fact that she's graduating for the program, that makes her feel very good.
She masters her goals. She's a goal setter. When I came to know her, that's what she was all about. She was one of the most focused students in class. She fast-tracked an incredible 72 times.
I've been helping my family by teaching the words to them and writing them. This program has taught me how to read and write the U.S. language perfectly. It's like any U.S. citizen would read or write.
El programa del Sistema 44 le ha ayudado mucho a motivarse a seguir sus estudios, se siente más segura en su lectura, en su spelling.
What is adaptive learning? Adaptive learning refers to an educational method which uses computers as interactive teaching devices and orchestrates the allocation of human and mediated resources according to the unique needs of each learner. These learning systems present educational materials via explanations, animation, audio clips, and quizzes.
let's talk about historical development. The conceptual beginnings of personalized and adaptive learning in terms of technology originate from the artificial intelligence movement in the 1970s. People associated with the movement began to articulate the potential of technology to mimic human approaches to teaching and cognitive learning processes. Even though AI technology at the time was not evolved to the level to do this, the idea was seen as something that could be viable sometime in the future. Then in the 1980s, emerged the field of intelligent tutoring systems, computer systems that aim to provide immediate and customized instruction or feedback to learners, usually without requiring intervention from a human teacher. In 1982, the book by Derek H. Sleeman and John Seely Brown entitled Intelligent Tutoring Systems was published. It described the then-current state of ITS implementations and related ITS to artificial intelligence and cognitive science. It was the first book about the subject and remains a seminal body of work in the field. Pedagogically, personalized learning began to gain viability with the argument that the current state of education is antiquated. Educational theorists began to propose personalized and adaptive learning as a post-industrial solution to teaching and learning that's actually relevant in contemporary times. Author and educational strategist Catherine Prince describes this best. She explains, "We keep operating school as a norm according to an industrial-era design principle, an industrial-era system whose time is past. We no longer live in that industrial economy for which our current educational system was designed. We're moving to a participatory economy in which increasingly full-time employment, as we are used to thinking about it, is on the decline, and many of today's kindergartners will be expected to create their own jobs. We help kids adapt to one version of school, but kids are individuals, not widgets." We would be remiss to not discuss the technology and science behind adaptive learning systems. However, for the purposes of this presentation, we want to emphasize the three most significant. During this week, you'll have opportunities to delve deeper into this topic should you want. As a scientific field, artificial intelligence began in the 50s, but the study of formal reasoning began with the classic philosophers. In the context of adaptive learning systems, AI mimics cognitive functions that humans associate with other human minds, such as learning and problem solving. The term machine learning was coined in 1959 by Arthur Samuel. It's a field in computer science that explores the study of algorithms that can learn from data and can make data-driven predictions or decisions. The field stems from the study of pattern recognition and computational learning theory from artificial intelligence. An algorithm can be defined as an unambiguous specification of how to solve a class of problems. Algorithms can perform calculations, process data, or automate reasoning tasks.
What is adaptive learning good for, and how does it change what happens in the classroom? For one vendor's perspective, we asked McGraw-Hill Education's experts how they think about those questions.
So Matt, let's say you've got one of these adaptive learning products and you're teaching your math class. You are getting the feedback that you get from the platform. You're not an expert in adaptive learning or algorithms. You're not sure that the platform is always going to be 100% accurate, but you feel pretty good enough that you're comfortable using it with your students in the class.
Yep.
How does that change what you do in the classroom?
Here's an example. I'm a math teacher, and what I like to do is have a 15-minute mini lesson followed by guided practice for 30 minutes. And every morning before I'm about to give my 15-minute lesson, I look at the data and I say, what were the 5 most challenging pieces of learning for the class the day before? And sometimes I say, oh, wow, I really ought to change what that 15-minute lesson was going to be. Sometimes I look at what were the things that my class mastered, and I say, oh, I don't need to teach that. Most of my class understood that. So that's one use case. Here's another one. Let's imagine I'm a history teacher and I want to have a great discussion about the American Revolution. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assign an adaptive history experience to my students, and the good news is that I'm going to have American history buffs in the class, and maybe I'll have students who are foreigners who don't even know who George Washington was, but I can assure that by the end of class or by the end of that homework assignment, everyone has the same baseline knowledge to have a robust discussion on something like how revolutionary was the American Revolution.
Where's the dividing line? What does the adaptive history product teach the students, and what does it leave to the teacher?
It'll go up high into Bloom. So it'll certainly teach you basic facts and the foundational experiences. It can also push you, ask you to think about supporting theses and things like that. But what it can't do is have a classroom discussion. You can't have a classroom discussion with the computer. But you can't have a very good classroom discussion if you're all trying to understand what Locke meant by life and liberty. And so it's going to push you to understand these concepts, to defend them, to analyze them, and then you'll be able to practice those in a larger group setting.
If you are looking to an interactive math program, Alex Math may fit your needs.
There are courses for all grades from 3rd to 12th. It also is available in both English and Spanish.
This internet-based math curriculum takes advantage of an artificial intelligence engine to identify students' needs, knowledge, and readiness for the next chapter.
This is a great choice for independent students. You can leave them at the computer to do their work and not have to hover over them to offer assistance. It is also a good option for visual learners.
There are no multiple choice questions in the assessments, so kids cannot guess and move on without really understanding the lesson.
This is a very flexible program because it allows the student to have input on what they learn.
The greatest flaw in the Alex Math program is definitely the price.
It requires a monthly fee, which can be a problem for some families, especially in this economy.
Since it is an online program, there is nothing physical to show for your money and therefore nothing to pass on to younger children.
The explanations may sometimes be too difficult to understand if the student is not a strong reader.
Also, because of the constant reassessing of past lessons, children may have to repeat the same chapter over and over again.
This might seem great to parents, but it can quickly get boring to children.
Also, it does not use the traditional format where something is taught and then comprehension is tested.
A tutorial is not offered until the student clicks the "I need an explanation" button.
Alex Math is an online comprehensive math course that is instructive and easy to use.
If your child likes to use the computer, this may be a good choice.
It is not disguised as a game as some online courses are, and not all students will enjoy the straightforward format.
You should use the free trial offer. That way you can not only be sure it will be a good fit for your child's learning style, but you can also check if your computer will actually run the program.